What is up, friends? Welcome back to Ozark Outdoor Brewing. Thanksgiving's behind us, fall is winding down, we're moving into that winter holiday season. In fact, yep, it's blowing in the garage right now. This is the crazy winter weather, friends. I can't think of anything better to warm me up on these types of nights than a winter spiced ale, and that's exactly what we're doing today with Holly Jolly 2023. So come along, let's brew some beer.
This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song. The Christmas tree's on fire, Santa's holding the lighter, my parents
I did brew a version of Holly Jolly last year, but as I think I've told y'all before, I don't think I've ever brewed the same beer twice. No, I've never brewed the same beer the same way twice. Same beer, different recipes. It makes sense in my head. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. The grain bill on this one, we have 87% extra pale 2-row, 5% caramel 20, 5% crystal 120, 2% honey malt for a little sweetness, and 1% roasted barley for a little bit of darker color to it. The hop additions, we have two additions. We have 1 ounce of Northern Brewer at the start of the boil at 60 minutes, and then 1 ounce of Willamette with 1 minute left in the boil. Now this wouldn't be a winter spiced ale without the spices. I've looked at a bunch of different recipes. This is maybe not necessarily my own. It is an amalgamation of other recipes. I've never brewed really with these kinds of spices. I'm going to try to err on the side of caution and maybe put in smaller amounts rather than go maybe too heavy and just totally screw the beer up. Hell, it may anyway, I don't know. But we have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon each of ginger and allspice, and I'm adding them with the Whirlflock tablet with about 10 minutes to go in the boil. The yeast, I made a yeast starter again this time. I did use liquid yeast from White Labs why do I have such a problem with that? WLP0051 California Ale. Can't remember if I mentioned 7.8 gallons of distilled water in here, heating up for a strike temperature of 158, and we're going to mash in at 152. We're getting pretty close to our strike temp, so it's time to go ahead and add our grain bag. I'm mashing in with the big bad boy mash paddle that I've got here. Let's do this. Get mashed in, break up them dough balls. And there we go, friends, we have hit the boil. I'm gonna turn down the heat just a smidge, just to make sure this is a nice, vigorous boil, and not something that's gonna boil over on us right here. And of course, at the start of the boil, we've got the hop spider. It's gonna go in right now at 60 minutes, along with 1 ounce of Northern Brewer hops. That's going in right here at the start of the boil at 60 minutes. It goes in just like this. I am using the hop spider. Want to limit the amount of true debris, hop matter and stuff that gets into the beer. And we can shake this thing up and kind of distribute that flavor throughout the beer during the boil. Friends, let's take just a minute and talk about the yeast. So you can see right here, I did create a yeast starter, and I did use the liquid WLP0051 California Ale. What do you like? Do you prefer liquid yeast, dry yeast? Do you always do a yeast starter? Do you only do it when you have liquid yeast? Let me know in the comments below what's your favorite and most recommended way to pitch your yeast. We've hit 10 minutes left in the boil. Time to add our spices. We have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then 1 teaspoon each of ginger and allspice. Those are going right into the boil. Now we're down to 1 minute left in the boil. Time to add our Willamette. The boil is complete. It's time to start cooling this wort down to yeast pitching temperatures. And for cooling this thing down, whoa, yeah, I've got my pond pump in a cooler. I've got ice, I've got water in there. that should be pretty cold, and that should be good enough to cool this thing down pretty quick. Friends, we have this cooled down to about 72 degrees. It is time to put together my bouncer inline filter. This thing pops and snaps together, screws together just like that. Now it's time to get this thing down into the fermenter.
The candy basket. Oh God, another jacket. My stocking's filled with acid. Am I dreaming? What just happened?
Time we add the yeast. So I've got the stir bar stuck up here with a magnet. I'm gonna pull that up a little bit, and we're gonna pitch this. Everything that was in there just goes right inside. Now that the yeast is added, I've got my floating dip tube that goes into the bottom of one of these ports here on the lid. Get that added. That drops right down in the middle of that. Also got my screw-on lid here. That's what's going to help hold this thing down. We're going to set this in the fermentation chamber for 7 to 10 days at 67 degrees. And if you're not already, please consider subscribing. That always helps us out. Friends, check this out. The majority of people that watch this channel are not subscribed. I can tell you that makes a difference with the YouTube algorithm. Please consider subscribing and smash that bell so you get a notification every time we post a video here on Ozark Outdoor Brewing. And remember, drink responsibly.